Good evening and welcome to our second session on the study of angels. I'm Reverend Sheila Nesbitt. As we start off today, we want to do a little backtrack on angels, and tonight we're pretty much focusing on angels of the Bible. We understand that angels are spiritual creatures. They're powerful, immortal, non-human. They serve as messengers and ministers of God. And we can see throughout the Bible that God used these angelic beings for various purposes. There are several names that we call angels. We can call them the angelic hierarchies, archangels, cherubims, seraphims, and normally just angels of the Lord. Archangels, as we know from looking into the Bible, one of them were Michael, the archangels. Michael, the archangel, he was a warrior, a protector of Israel. And another was Gabriel, who was a messenger of major revelation. And we see God using the archangel Gabriel in Daniel chapter 8, also in Luke, the first chapter, and various throughout the Bible. God is called upon the archangel Michael to go and perform various tasks. Cherubims or guidance of sacred spaces. And we know that from reading the very first book of Genesis, Genesis 3:24, God is using the cherubims to pretty much guard the Garden of Eden so that mankind wouldn't go back in and eat off of the tree of life. But we know that if they eat off of the tree of life, they will live forever and never die. Genesis 3:24. In Ezekiel chapter 1, it also talks about the cherubims around the throne of God. And it also talks about another types of angel, the seraphims. The seraphims or seven wings, heavenly worshipers that proclaim God's holiness and pretty much worshiping and praising God around his throne. And the angel of the Lord speaks as God, another one of God's messenger. The angel of the Lord uh, appeared to Hagar, to Abraham, Moses, Gideon, and was taking to them, each of them, a message from the Lord. He spoke as God. He offered an interpretation as a divine manifestation of God himself. And now we see from just kind of looking around at some of the angels of the Bible, as we said, Michael, Gabriel, and talked about the seraphims and the cherubims. We also know that Satan, Lucifer himself, was or is an angel. He was a fallen angelic being, fallen angelic being, and he had a major role in heaven. He was one of God's archangel. He was one of God's top commander in heaven before he was pretty much kicked out of heaven by God. Satan, as we say, is a fallen angel. And when Satan was kicked out of heaven by God, a third of the other angels that kind of went astray with Satan was also kicked out of heaven because of their disobedience or rebellion against God. And now these fallen angels, along with Satan's, are called demons. In other words, they're leaders of rebellion, demons, fallen angels. Second Peter chapter 2 talks about the bond angels, and Jude chapter 3 talks about these angels. Angels are very organized, they're purposeful, they're active in God's work. And I'm talking about the good angels, not the fallen angels. These angels are organized, they're purposeful, and they're active in God's work. They reveal God's message, protect God's people, and execute God's will. So angels are very powerful creatures, spiritual beings used by God for various reasons. And in our next video, we'll talk a little bit more about the different types of angels and how those angels are active in our daily lives. Be blessed.